Sandy Swallow, and welcome to this edition of One Lakota Woman's Perspective on Life. This story is telling you about a wild road trip to Chicago. I'm not really a very adventurous person, so to speak, but in the late 1990s, I, with a friend, and her name was Iris Sully Sorensen, she's an artist and she does wood carving, and we decided to go to Chicago together. We thought, well, to begin with, what happened was we was going to go to a Pow Wow at Ann Arbor, Michigan, and we thought, well, it's kind of close, it wouldn't be too far of a drive, so we would go on to Chicago to see if we could approach some art galleries and see if they would be interested in representing us. Now, this was not how things are done in the art world, but we didn't know that, and so we thought this was a good idea. Some of the things that happened were just kind of very strange, and that's why I say it's a wild trip to Chicago. For one thing, we went through an ice storm, and I just looked at those trees and I thought they are so beautiful with all the ice and the frost, but as you can guess, it was treacherous driving, and the roads, we came across people that had gone down into the ditch, and even though it was beautiful, it was very scary. Well, we got to Ann Arbor, Michigan, and set up our booths, and there was this tall gentleman came into my booth, and he said something about wanting to see my hand, and I didn't know what to say to him, and so I gave him my hand, and he flipped it over and started reading my palm, which totally shocked me. So, I mean, that's something I wouldn't ordinarily do. And then that night, because of the ice storm in our motel room, we were freezing. We did not have any heat. There was no hot water. It was a very miserable night we spent. But that was okay. That was just part of the trip, and we went on to Chicago because Iris actually had a friend that had a connection at the Newberry Library. Now, at that time, I didn't know or understand what important thing that was, that the Newberry Library is known throughout the world. Her friend was involved there and actually was a curator there, and it was just so great because one of the greatest things that happened to me was he invited us to go up into the archives. So we got to go upstairs, and when we went up there, they brought out these gloves. They were like cotton gloves, and so we could literally unfold the original ledger paintings, and this book, I believe, thinking back, it was like in the 1870s or so, and it was done on a ledger book and done with colored pencils, and that's how they did do. And I'm assuming this person that did it was probably a prisoner, because it was adult that did this ledger painting. And what was so dear to my heart was the fact that he was Northern Cheyenne, and my grandmother is Northern Cheyenne. I didn't know her because she had passed before I was even born, but I have this feeling inside of me that, oh wow, here's the Northern Cheyenne. And one picture I can think about was, there was this Indian on the horse, and he just was beautiful. He had a big headdress flowing back and very dignified, and there was some other Indians laying that he had killed. But it depicted his story of what had happened to him in his life, and so we weren't able at that time to take any photographs, and but they did allow us to take a pencil, and they gave us paper, and I did sketches. I did sketches of what he had done, and I still have these sketches. So my background for ledger paintings, I feel, is very authentic, and I didn't do them for quite a while. I have chosen to do other art forms, but now it's coming back to me that perhaps I should do ledger paintings, and that I should depict my family's history. And I just encourage you to look at these. Please comment if you have some ideas about what you would put in your ledger painting if you was to do it. And thank you for your time.